pace of change has rapidly accelerated. And no longer do you actually need to go to a 4-year university degree to have the most up-to-date skills, but you may need to go and take an online course in how to work with a new type of AI. I don't have the confidence to say what the most important skill is going to be in 5 years, but I know that the individuals that are staying on top of requirements.
In an era where AI is rapidly reshaping industries, how individuals navigate career transitions today and how companies manage workforce change has become more critical than ever.
Ultimately, the biggest owner of your career is going to be yourself. You should treat your career in a similar way to how you think about saving money for retirement, looking after yourself physically.
Hi everyone, this is Maheen and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. Today we're looking at the future of work and the digital transformation of career services. Because in an era where AI is rapidly reshaping industries, how individuals navigate career transitions today and how companies manage workforce change has become more critical than ever. Joining us to discuss this is Jeffrey Doucet, the CEO and co-founder of Thrive Career Wellness. Jeffrey has led Thrive from a bootstrapped idea into a global enterprise operating in over 10 markets, recently choosing a major institutional capital round. His platform uses advanced technology to humanize outplacement and employment support at a massive scale. And we'd love to delve deeper into this topic. So without further ado, let's dive in and welcome Jeffrey. Jeffrey, we're very pleased to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Good.
Now, Jeff, let's open a discussion with understanding the AI-driven workforce shift. We hear a lot of high-level talk about AI, but you're seeing the boots on the ground reality of how it's actually changing job descriptions and organizational structures. Tell us, how are leading companies managing AI-driven workforce change, and what separates success from struggle?
Yeah, so, companies are constantly changing as they respond to market pressures and technology changes. I think, so companies for as long as they've been operating are constantly going through processes of evolving, and that requires different skill sets amongst their organization, their business units. I think what we've seen now is the pace has rapidly changed, and the pace has rapidly accelerated. So companies are facing, challenges on a couple fronts. So first of all, markets are changing quickly. Like products that are being offered to consumers, products that are being offered to end buyers are changing dramatically, and expectations of consumers are changing, which is causing a lot of businesses to have to look at their business strategy and how they offer their services to customers. And then second, at the same time, the needs of employees or the needs that companies have from their employees are changing rapidly because they're expecting, individuals to be able to keep up with the pace of technology changes as they introduce, new requirements in the job description, spin up new business units, and everything of the like. And so I'd say, taking a step back, we are seeing, changes accelerate, and companies are sometimes, they're struggling to keep up, or they're doing a great job and navigating their way through it. And so, when we typically get involved with an organization, and when we are getting involved in a large restructuring project, or their needs of their workforce are changing and they're looking to redeploy talent into other parts of their business, we see how companies are able to navigate those situations. And I think, irrespective of the size of an organization, whether they are, a 50,000 person organization or a 50-person organization, the ones that I think are navigating the choppy waters well are those that are mindful in how they're going about doing it, transparently communicating within their organization as to the what and the why of what they're doing, and setting very clear expectations as to what their business will look like on the other side of a potential change. I think the second part of that is what we see a lot is companies that understand their future needs of their employee base, are able to really do a great job of helping individuals transition even internally into an organization. So what that may look like is, potentially, you're a large retail company or you're a large financial services organization. And for whatever reason, a certain business unit is no longer in the same amount of demand as it used to be. We see companies on the front foot there, and they're looking to take talent in one area, invest, redeploy, retrain, and move them into the next phase of their organization, rather than just take talent that has worked at that organization for a while and ask them to leave nicely.
Right. That's such a vital perspective, Jeffrey, and it confirms that successful transformation isn't just about the tech, but it's about how clearly a company communicates and manages the UX side of that change. Now let's focus on how individuals can stay relevant as AI reshapes career paths. Jeffrey, how can workers realistically future-proof their careers right now?
Yeah, so this is our sweet spot. And this is where we spend a lot of our time on our product and in market, is helping individuals upskill, reskill, and find their next opportunity. And there's a couple areas that, we find people struggle with as they're going through a workforce, as they're going through a career change. So first would be, I think back to when people are in high school or they're in university, like you think of your career in a very linear way. I'm going to do this specific job, or my previous role had this specific job description. And that's often how individuals think about their skill sets.
Right.
What we try to do and what we do with our software is we help individuals analyze their existing skill sets based on their work history and the job that they had and the role that they had, and then help them understand how their skill sets are applicable to various different types of career paths. So you may have been in a specific role at a specific type of company, and you're an 80% fit for a different type of role. And you may not have even known you're an 80% fit for that type of role. And that type of role is actually in really high demand in your local region. So we want individuals to understand their skill sets, understand their local demand, and then we want to close the loop and help them understand how they can access training to acquire the skills to find that new occupation. What we're seeing, I think, nowadays is the pace of change is dramatically accelerating. And no longer do you actually need to go to a 4-year university degree or a 2-year college program to have the most up-to-date skills. But you may need to go and take an online course in how to work with a new type of software product or work with a new type of AI tool, and to be able to apply that to future career opportunities. So I think then, but the main message is for individuals, I think, is career paths used to be big, large switches. And I think the individuals that are able to stay on top of the curve are the individuals that are constantly like acquiring and building new skills. And, you learning and training is no longer something that happens like formally at a university or at a college or even at a company training event, but one that individuals are constantly like investing in themselves and acquiring skills based on what they want to do.
Right. Well, it's empowering to hear that future proofing is less about predicting the future and it's more about building adaptability.
We can't predict the future.
Right.
Like,
and
don't know
durability.
We don't know what the leading skill is going to be in 5 years.
Right.
And look at the software industry. 5 years ago, the demand for software engineers was much different than the demand today. And so I don't have the confidence to say what the most success or important skill is going to be in 5 years, but I know that the individuals that are staying on top of requirements are going to be the ones that are best positioned.
At the end of the day, it's the durability, which is in our core skills that we can just, adapt to the current times. Listeners, if you're navigating a changing workforce, then please learn from this conversation we had with Jeff on how to use AI as a career multiplier rather than a replacement, and discover why the companies that invest in their people's transitions today are the ones that will dominate the market in 2026. Now let's continue our conversation with Jeffrey. Next, let's shift our attention to how Thrive blends AI efficiency with human-centered career support.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, how does Thrive deliver personalized career support at scale, and what makes it different?
So, let's compare two different things. One is going onto a job board and applying to a job. And the second is meeting with a career coach, which is a person that's highly trained in career coaching that can give you specific advice. We like to think we're sitting actually like somewhere in the middle, where we're using data that we have from hundreds of thousands of job seekers to properly understand what proper career path and activity looks like, and then start using AI that's built on the Thrive platform to drive human-like advice and experience to job seekers so that not everyone can afford a career coach who costs hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars, but they're able to get that personalized feedback. A great example of that is one of the most common things that people look for from a career coach is like a resume review. I want you to help me write a resume to make it professional. And we recently rolled out a resume review agent that allows us to take the existing resume that someone's built and provide them like structured one-on-one advice that feels like it's coming from a career coach. And what this is really doing is making it so that people that previously couldn't get access to potentially one-on-one career coaching are now able to have it directly in our platform. And so it's very exciting. What we're seeing is that, we're almost able to democratize and make access to career coaching available to like a lot of individuals that previously didn't have access.
Absolutely. That human on the loop approach is a secret sauce. And it proves that AI is at its best when it frees up humans to do more human-like things like searching and landing the right job at the right time. We're going to pause for a quick break. Don't go anywhere, because when we're back, we'll unpack how Thrive earned the trust of enterprise and government partners in high-stakes workforce transitions.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. You still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep. Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah. Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's jump right into the startup journey and explore how Thrive builds credibility with large institutions during moments of major change. Now let's look at how Thrive earned the trust of enterprise and government clients. Jeffrey, how has Thrive earned trust with large partners in this workforce transition?
Yeah, so I think when you're starting a business, I remember when we were a company that was much smaller than we are today, we are often told, like, don't try to sell to very large companies or don't try to sell into a government organization. And the reason that people give you that advice, the reason investors may give you that advice is because for a couple of reasons. Like, one, it takes time. It takes time when you're a small business to try to go after deals that may take a year to 2 years to 3 years to even materialize. And then second, it's just like really hard. And it's hard because the requirements of larger enterprises or publicly funded government organizations are different than selling into a small, medium-sized business. There's like compliance information, regulation information, infrastructure work you have to do to even get your foot in the door. And it's something that there's no actually easy answer to earning that trust. You have to show up, spend your time, start to understand the unique needs of various different customers. And then ultimately invest in the work that's required to be able to play at that level. A good example of that would be we're a software company. And there's something called a SOC 2 audit. And a SOC 2 audit basically is something a software company goes through on an annual basis to demonstrate the compliance and security around how they're handling data and information. And we did that we did that for the first time when we were I want to say a 15-person company.
Okay.
We're now over 50, and it was painful. Like, it took time and it wasn't fun. Like, I'd much rather be doing sales work that includes like taking someone out for dinner or something of that nature. But doing that work and making that investment and like understanding where we wanted to go as a company, like we wanted to be a company that was able to sell into large enterprises, sell into government programs that gives access to our software to tens of thousands of users at a time. We knew we had to make those investments. The answer is it's taken a lot of time, build that trust, and then you learn the unique requirements that various customers have. A second component to that is like if you're selling software to restaurants that are 20-person companies or 20-person restaurants, your product's probably going to be deployed the exact same way for every type of restaurant. You can't change your solution for those smaller organizations. When you work with a large company, if Microsoft walks into RBC expects them to do certain things to meet RBC's needs.
Right.
You have to be ready to adapt, understand your customers' unique requirements, and implement a solution that works for them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's clear that the credibility and the agility, they are your core strengths, Jeffrey, and it shows that even the largest agencies, they're looking for innovation over legacy in today's fast-moving market. This has been a great conversation. Now let's kind of move it to why Thrive's Canadian roots, they matter on a global stage. Jeffrey, why is now the right time for career development, and how does a Canadian perspective shape Thrive?
So it's been interesting. Something I tell every software entrepreneur, because we're kind of at that stage now where you're starting to give advice to companies that are at an earlier stage, is like get on the plane to Europe. There is a lot going on right now in the geopolitical world where certain countries are very excited to hear from solutions that are based in Canada.
Right.
And I think, we have a unique position in this world that we can use to our advantage due to geopolitical tensions that are happening. And so what we've found is, one, there's tremendous commercial value for our business in getting out there. And one of my early investors was a guy by the name of Sir Terry Matthews. He, I think, is one of the only Canadian entrepreneurs to start a couple billion-dollar companies. And even when we were a 2 to 4 person company, he was really pushing this idea of going global. Like, get on the plane, start to understand your customers. I think that for a lot of companies, sometimes there's a huge focus on the United States, and we want to be working in the United States. We want to be serving American customers, but there's a lot of work and opportunity out there across the pond. And it's something that's been really, really great for us. The second part to that is in certain areas, Canada is seen as a leader. And so, for example, we have in some of our work around supporting governments, we're able to take learnings of what's happening to support people that are unemployed in Canada, take to other parts of the world where they may not have the same sort of employment benefits, and leverage those learnings for some growth.
Absolutely. And that's such an inspiring final thought to wrap this with. And it confirms that the Canadian values of empathy and inclusivity, they're actually a massive strategic advantage when building a global career technology. As we wrap up, Jeffrey, if there's one core message that you want to share with our listeners or have them remember about navigating career disruption in 2026, what would it be?
I think that my main core message, I think, for anybody, whether they're thinking about how they can advance their career in their specific organization or they're looking to do a new career, is ultimately the biggest owner of your career is going to be yourself as an individual. And you should treat your career in a similar way to how you think about saving money for retirement or saving money to buy a house or investing in your stock market portfolio or looking after yourself physically. Good things aren't going to happen to you to achieve your goals, at work. I think constant focus on a weekly, monthly basis, and what can sometimes see like small progress but that is teaching you new skills. You're staying on top of changing technology trends. You're constantly looking at new ways to make yourself productive, even in the workforce, even if your employer isn't even asking you to do so, are going to put you, in the top percentile of employees, and good things are going to happen to you in your career. And then it's a very exciting time. I think it can be very overwhelming. I feel sometimes very overwhelmed with the pace that technology is changing, but it's also a very exciting time. And it's one that I think is going to, be great for a number of people in the world.
Absolutely. That was a great and a powerful message to end this conversation with. Jeffrey, thank you so much for being on the show with us and for sharing such great expertise and your vision. Thank you.
Oh.
And that was a great conversation with Jeffrey. We explored the AI-driven workforce shift, the reality of raising capital in Canada, and how to disrupt large-scale consulting markets. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe for more expert insights. Visit our website, CanadianSME.ca, for valuable resources. Before we leave, a special shout out to our partners, UPS, A1 Global College, ADP, and Google for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses in Canada. Until next time, please keep moving forward and we'll see you in the next one.